It looked like it's happening. Angel Reese is asking out of Chicago already.
Angel Reese officially puts the Chicago Sky on notice. We're not doing the same thing this offseason that we did last offseason. Stop bringing me bums to play with.
Angel Reese just told the Chicago Tribune she's not settling for the same results next year, demanding the Sky bring in the league's best talent to surround her. Bold words, right? Here's the twist. She leads the league in turnovers, missed weeks of action, and still struggles to finish at the rim. Things got so bad she even picked up a suspension. Reese wants an overhaul of her teammates, but maybe it's Reese the Sky should move on from. So, here's the question. Is Angel Reese the biggest hoax in WNBA history? One thing's for sure. She's no Caitlin Clark. Drop your take in the comments. Are you Team Clark, the baby goat, or Team Reese, the baby giraffe? Let's go.
I want the best of the best. I want the upper echelon.
Imagine demanding your teammates get replaced, only to become the one your own franchise might cut loose. That's the spot Angel Reese put herself in after her comments to the Chicago Tribune. She wasn't subtle either. Reese flat out said she wasn't settling for the same we did this year, doubling down that Chicago must bring in good players and great players. That didn't sound like a franchise cornerstone ready to grow with her team. It sounded like a brat trying to gut her roster on the record.
What Angel Reese had to say. I'm not settling for the same shit we did this year. Oh boy. Reese told the Tribune, we have to get good players. We have to get great players. That's a non-negotiable for me. I'm willing and wanting to play with the best. And however I can help to get the best here, that's what I'm going to do this offseason. So it's going to be very, very important this offseason to make sure we attract the best of the best, because we can't settle for what we have this year.
That interview didn't just ruffle feathers. It reportedly infuriated teammates and veterans across the league. Things got so tense, the Sky had to organize a full locker room sit-down just to deal with the fallout. That's not team chemistry. That's damage control. Imagine being unproven, yet forcing half your team into a meeting because of your mouth. That's not leadership. That's dysfunction.
Can't rely on Courtney to come back at that age that she's at, Reese said. I know she'll be a great asset for us, but we can't rely on that. We need someone probably a little younger with some experience, somebody who's been playing the game and is willing to compete for a championship and has done it before. Courtney Vandersloot, by the way, two-time WNBA champion, 5-time All-Star, 2-time All-WNBA first team, left the New York Liberty, a championship caliber team, to come help out the Chicago. Oh, damn. Oh, damn. Oh, dang. Oh, dang. It's all right, Courtney. It's all right.
And here,
of all her comments, the ugliest shot was aimed at Courtney Vandersloot. Even though Vandersloot missed the season with an ACL injury, Reese brushed her aside, dismissing her as too old for the Sky's present or future. That cut deep because Vandersloot isn't just any player. She's a respected veteran point guard with championship pedigree and one of the best floor generals the league has ever seen. Tossing her in the dust wasn't just disrespectful to Vandersloot, it alienated veterans across the league who know she's earned every ounce of respect.
Look at Spooky in Chicago. Instead, Reese said she doesn't believe her teammates Rachel Barman or Haley Van Lith are capable of leading them to the leading the playoff team. Guard Ariel Atkins is another player on the Sky roster with WNBA championship experience. We are aware of it, Marsh stated. We are addressing.
And here's the irony. The Chicago front office already bent over backwards to build around Reese. They gave up Sonia Citron, who's in the middle of a Rookie of the Year race and already an All-Star in her first season, just to bring in Ariel Atkins. That was supposed to give Reese exactly what she wanted, established talent to win now, but instead of gratitude, she acted like the roster was never good enough. You can't accuse the front office of not trying when they sacrificed a potential franchise cornerstone just for your benefit.
We need great players, and I don't know what that will attract that. Maybe the practice facility will attract that. We'll see. But I think the priority is being able to convince free agents that this is an organization that is going in the right direction. I think, honestly, it would be a leap of faith for a great player to come here and show that this is something that they want to be a part of, and we can bring that championship mentality. A leap of faith To think that a great player would want to come to Chicago. Oh boy.
And when
It would have been bad enough if Reese only went after the veterans. But she didn't stop there. Even younger teammates like Haley Van Lith caught strays, with Reese implying the whole team was either too old, too mid, or too soft. Suddenly, veterans felt insulted, younger players felt dismissed, and the locker room found one thing to unite around: frustration with her. Reese wanted to spark a rally, but instead, she turned all the heat inward right at herself.
It's not all her fault. Her teammates stink. They gotta catch that, right? Right! Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? Scooby, put down the butter. Butter pecan! Bang! This time of the year is the best. You got pumpkin spice, football, and Angel Reese layups. Bang! Final play of the game, Angel Reese, clutch Gene! Womp, womp, womp. That's my Barbie!
And when you look at her on-court impact, it's easy to see why this whole power play backfired. If you're going to put yourself above the rest of the roster, you'd better back it up with dominance. Instead, Reese became the one out of sync, the piece that didn't fit into the very system she wanted to reshape. In other words, the vision she imagined only spotlighted a truth Chicago may not have wanted to admit. Their biggest problem might not be the roster she criticized. It might be Angel Reese herself. What makes it sting even more? While she kept demanding upgrades and star-level talent, she struggled with one of the most basic responsibilities on the court: holding on to the ball.
Percent of the time, Angel Reese gets her shot blocked inside of 9 feet. And 100% of the time, she's doggy doo-doo. Burn! Give it to the lady in orange. Uh-oh, you're out. Simon didn't say. 101 turnovers in 26 games for our 2K cover. She's a stat stuffer. Bang! At least she always brings the boom. I'll see you tomorrow night. Bang!
What if the very player demanding a roster overhaul was actually the one dragging her own team down? That's exactly the case with Angel Reese. On paper, her numbers look decent: 14 to 15 points per game and a double-digit rebounding average. Solid at first glance. But look closer, and the cracks start to show. She's leading the entire WNBA in turnovers, despite missing several weeks of action with an injury. Think about that for a moment. She sat out, logged fewer minutes than most stars, and still managed to give the ball away more than anyone else. That's not dominance, that's careless basketball.
And watching the bottom of your screen. The contact by Reese.
You can see Angel's right hand got Aaliyah Edwards on the head. And if they do, Lisa, I'm okay with that too, because I think you have to officiate these teams very tightly.
So it'll be a technical foul.
Turnovers can happen when a player tries to force the game. But with Reese, it wasn't just about aggression. It showed impatience, poor decision-making, and a lack of control under pressure. And the problems didn't stop there. Discipline became another issue. Instead of being the composed cornerstone of the franchise, Reese was constantly jawing at referees, losing her cool, and piling up technical fouls that cost her own team. She reached that breaking point fast. 8 technical fouls in a single season. By league rule, that triggered an automatic one-game suspension. For a player meant to be the face of the franchise, that's not leadership. That's self-sabotage.
Angel Reese, oh damn, has been assessed with 8 technical fouls, and she will be suspended for Friday game unless it is rescinded. And I'm telling you right now, look, he said it best, her attitude. That mug ain't getting rescinded. Angel Reese has struck out again.
That suspension didn't come on some random Tuesday. It landed right before a crucial matchup against the Indiana Fever. Fans had been circling that game for weeks. Indiana versus Chicago, a rivalry the league was eager to spotlight. And Reese, she managed to take herself out of it. Not because of injury, not because of rest, but because she struck Aaliyah Edwards in the head on a rebound play. Intentional or not, the referees saw enough to make the call, and the league had no choice but to enforce the suspension. That wasn't just a personal embarrassment, it was a direct hit to her own team at the worst possible time.
How many players are going to listen to what Angel Reese had to say about Courtney Vandersloot? are going to listen to what Angel Reese had to say about her current teammates, how many players are going to say, oh yeah, I want to play with that player who has no problem throwing me under the bus with 3 games to go? I want to play with that. Maybe not many.
And the irony is too rich to ignore. The Chicago Sky, supposedly built around Reese, often looked more cohesive and energetic when she wasn't on the floor. The ball moved better, the defense tightened up, and sometimes they even pulled out. Wins without her. That's backwards. A true star is supposed to raise the team's ceiling. In Reese's case, the less she played, the better her team looked. A franchise player in reverse. Ask Sky fans if they see Reese as the foundation for the future, and many would tell you it feels more like she's an anchor holding them down. She wanted to prove she was the centerpiece, but the results painted a different picture. Because what good are 15 points and 12 rebounds if they're buried under clumsy turnovers, constant arguments with referees, and suspensions in crucial moments? Watching Reese on the court wasn't watching a savior, it was watching a liability, one you couldn't depend on when the season mattered most.
Indiana Fever destroy the Chicago Sky in Indianapolis on Saturday. Guess who wasn't there? Angel Reese. Angel Reese declined to travel to Indianapolis, and her coach came out and said something about, she's just focused on her rehab right now, and, she's day to day. We've never had an explanation on what caused the back injury, what's a time frame for her recovery. It's similar to so-and-so's back injury. This is something she struggled with here or there. All we've heard is day to day, and Angel Reese has disappeared.
And that lack of stability makes the contrast impossible to ignore. While Reese was burning bridges and dragging her team down, another young star was setting the standard, Caitlin Clark in Indiana. Here's the difference. Reese tossed shade at her own teammates. Clark lifted hers up. She's been under the heaviest spotlight in WNBA history. Every game scrutinized, every mistake turned into a headline. Most players would crack under that kind of pressure, but Clark handled it with patience and professionalism from day one. Even when sidelined with injuries, she stayed locked in, traveling with the Fever, sitting courtside, cheering her teammates, making sure they felt her presence. That's leadership, that's commitment. Reese, when she was out, she stayed away. No support, no accountability, just distance.
I'm proud of this group. I think we've shown all season long, they're resilient, they're connected. They pull for each other. They enjoy one another. They celebrate one another, and that stuff alone is good for 10 to 12 points a game. And for this group, the way that they share the ball, how unselfish they are. I'm really proud of them. It's not been ideal circumstances all season long, but they've shown the character of who they are. They've been resilient. They've responded to adversity, and they continue to elevate one another. And I couldn't be more proud of this group than I am at this moment.
Clark's leadership goes far beyond just showing up on the sideline. She's shown a level of sportsmanship rare in young stars. One of the clearest examples, when she publicly praised Angel Reese after a strong performance. Remember, these two are supposed to be rivals, at least in Reese's mind, but instead of feeding into drama, Clark gave credit where it was due. That's the difference. Reese used interviews to tear down her own teammates. Clark used hers to build bridges with teammates and even opponents, and the impact on her roster is obvious. With Clark on the floor, Aaliyah Boston plays freer, more confident, and more dominant in the paint. Guards like Lexi Hull and Kelsey. Mitchell get better looks because defenses collapse on Clark's passing lanes. Even Sophie Cunningham thrives, feeding off the spacing and energy Clark creates. Clark isn't just a scorer, she makes the entire unit function. That's why she led the league in assists last year, over 9 per game. And even this season, despite missing time with injuries, she's still averaging well above 8. That's the kind of presence that elevates a franchise, not drags it down.
The back injury. Everybody's questioning it now, and this will be a 3rd straight season where Angel Reese did not finish playing in games, where she just stopped. She just stopped. Some of these injuries, we saw the injuries. We didn't see what happened. What happened? This is bad.
The media picked up on it too. Every headline out of Indiana highlights Clark as the model of professionalism. How she talks up her teammates, how she backs her locker room, and how her preparation sets the standard. Reese? She had to walk back and apologize after blasting her own roster in that Tribune interview. It's night and day. One so-called superstar told the world her team wasn't good enough. The other true superstar made everyone around her better. That's why Indiana has hope. They're not just playing sharper basketball. They're being led by a rookie with the maturity of a veteran. Clark set a culture in Indiana that Chicago is still searching for. And when you stack her growth next to Reese's missteps, the picture gets clear. Reese's downfall wasn't bad luck. It was the byproduct of her own choices.
Angel Reese. Angel Reese has taken this season off to focus on her off-court endeavors and to avoid these losses that the Chicago Sky are accumulating, to avoid them appearing on her resume. Angel Reese doesn't really care about basketball.
Picture this. One franchise player has fans buying tickets months in advance. The other has her own teammates holding emergency meetings over locker room drama. Guess which team people are buzzing about? The Indiana Fever are on the rise. Caitlin. Clark has taken them from lottery picks to playoff contenders, landing national TV spots, and selling out arenas across the country. She's not just a star, she's momentum in motion. Meanwhile, in Chicago, Angel Reese turned what should have been a hopeful rebuild into a circus of apologies, complaints, and constant question marks. Sky fans aren't asking about championships anymore. They're asking if the front office already regrets tying the franchise's future to her.
I think it just says a lot about who we have as human beings. That was one of the things that we made a priority in the offseason of, who we bring into this organization. Number one, quality human beings, selfless human beings that want to pull for one another, that understand. We have this depth for a reason, and sometimes it creates challenges getting people on the floor. But in situations like this is why you have it. And I'm just, she's right. I mean, as a pro and as a pro coach, this is one of the most connected groups I've seen.
Clark even handled her injury stretches with maturity. She didn't hide at home or disappear when things got tough. She hopped on planes, showed up in street clothes, and stayed locked in on the sidelines with her teammates. Reese? She stayed away. While Chicago fought to stay afloat, their so-called cornerstone wasn't even in the picture. Her absence only reinforced the sense that she wasn't all in. Meanwhile, in Indiana, Clark's presence elevated everyone around her. Aaliyah Boston is blossoming into a superstar in the paint. Lexi Hull is playing with confidence thanks to the spacing Clark creates. Kelsey Mitchell is thriving with one of her best seasons, and Sophie Cunningham has seamlessly fit into that mix. Clark doesn't just score, she reshapes the floor and makes everyone better. And the proof of Indiana's rise is everywhere. They're smashing attendance records, driving merchandise sales, and locking down primetime coverage. Chicago? A brutal 10-30 record, endless suspension headlines, and a frustrated fan base that sees chaos instead of progress. Fans aren't asking about playoffs anymore. They're pointing straight at Angel Reese's so-called leadership as the problem. That's the split. Clark's professionalism makes veterans want to join her. Reese's complaints make stars steer clear of Chicago. And the numbers don't lie. Indiana wins more with Clark on the court, while Chicago often looks sharper when Reese is off, which forces the bigger question. Was Angel Reese ever the right bet for the Sky? She wanted the roster rebuilt around her. But the irony is Chicago might realize their biggest problem is her. A player can't demand greatness while leading the league in turnovers and watching her team play better without her. Analysts and fans are already calling her toxic, a liability you can't build around. Meanwhile, Indiana sees Caitlin. Clark as the professional, team-first leader the WNBA has been waiting for. With Clark, Boston, Mitchell, Hull, and Cunningham, the Fever's future looks electric. In Chicago, painfully disappointing. So, what do you think? Are you Team Clark, the baby goat, or Team Reese, the baby giraffe? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's next.